All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation about RxJS and XState. And about RxJS and XState. And I've prepared a very fancy presentation. It's this one. The two topics, so this is the agenda. A brief introduction about Marcus and I. So Marcus and I, we know each other since a while doing development, and we are both freelancers. And so I was doing projects for the last 20 years in Switzerland, in Germany, doing projects in Europe, including with nearshore partners in Romania and Russia, and projects like in Switzerland, Germany, Luxembourg, Sweden. Yeah. Me as a developer, I started quite long time ago with Java. My main focus right now is really JavaScript, Node.js. Yeah, that's it from my side. Marcus, want to tell something about yourself?
Yeah, maybe really quick, because I have a super awesome announcement about me chart on my presentation, but it will be a short one. Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Ty, for organizing this, and I hope this will be fun and everyone will enjoy it. And so, yeah, I will speak a lot more later. So, Ty, go on and tell us something about state machines.
Yeah, okay. My main focus is I will talk about RxJS, and then Marcus will jump into XState, state machines, and state charts. I've prepared a demo application just to show you all the examples I've prepared for RxJS. So what do I want to talk about RxJS? One thing is like how are data handled normally in imperative programming, just so that you see how it looks like and to compare it with reactive programming. So how are data handled in reactive programming? Let's have a brief overview about the concept of reactive extensions, or aka reactiveX. And RxJS is just one implementation of reactive extensions. There are many other implementations in Java, in Scala, in C#, Ruby, Python, so in many languages. Then about common examples where it makes sense to use RxJS, just like sharing data between components, and about subscribing and unsubscribing and why it is so important. And the other topic is XState. I think, yeah, Marcus will tell about that later. Okay, let's jump right into the application. So the demo application, I have prepared two views. So one view is like with some examples, we get right to that. And the other one is this demo about the Code Monkey Club. The Code Monkey Club is just like, it's spread all over the places. It's right now. There are just two places here in Freiburg that I've set up and founded, and the other one is for Marcus in Düsseldorf. In this example, so as time goes by, more and more clubs are founded as a location nearby you. You can select one of these clubs, jump into that one, and if you jump into this club, you see all these members. Yeah? You can go back, go to the next one, And here you see the rules, the code monkey rules. And inside there is something wrong. Let me refresh that one. Yes, okay, all right. And so there are members that has been there for a while, and there are new members. The new members are highlighted with a gray background, yeah. So, and as the rule number 8 says, if this is your first time, you have to code. So what you can do here is just like you can select 2 of the new members and then start the code challenge. So I've selected the member with ID 6 and 4. They start coding. One gets into a bad exception, and the other one finishes code, gets it compiled, it's working, and it's running, and won. And now there are no new members anymore, and then you can select other ones as well and start another challenge. Just a simple example. Okay. Let's switch. How is data handling in imperative programming? Here's a very simple example. We want to calculate the sum of A and B. So this is quite simple. You assign a variable A with a value, a variable B with a value, and you calculate the sum of this one. And you get that. If you change the value again, A or B to another value, and you log, the sum keeps unchanged. This is all what you know of. Yeah. So if you really want to update the sum, you really have to explicitly reassign and recalculate the value and assign it back to sum. Yeah. This is what we call imperative programming. As a simple example here. Oh, wait a minute. Yes. The logging is not enabled.
I like it. Hot fixing in production.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see that again. Demo. All right. Yeah. So very simple. You all know that yes, I value A and B. It gets a value. The sum of A and B is 3. We assign it. The sum is still 3. No matter what you do, we assign it to A or B. It keeps the same. Now another very common example that you know is just like you do it so often, just like you get data from the back end and you do something on the front end. You might need to filter it, add some additional UI specific properties. Yeah. In this case, I have what I want to do is just like I get all the data from the back end, just like an array of numbers. And then in my UI, I want to filter them, even show all numbers or only show the even numbers or show all numbers greater than 5. So here in my HTML, simple like that, I have 2 toggles. that changed the value only even and greater than 5, which is just a Boolean value flag, and then the data is displayed. So first of all, let's initialize this data with some, with an array. All right. So we have the data here. Still, this has no effect on that one. Yeah. So what we normally do is just like every time it changes, we need to listen on the change and then change the data. So in this simple example, I just do it directly in the setter method, and say update data. So what I need to do, in addition to that one, I need to filter them by those two Boolean flags. So I get for each element the value, and I check should it consider only even numbers, and if so, we do the modulo of 2 and check whether it's 0. Otherwise, we just return the value. The other filter is just like what was greater than 5. Okay, then we check for greater than 5. Otherwise, we always return all values. Yeah. All right. And yeah. Simple like that. Only even numbers greater than 5. There's something wrong if we filter the button. Oh yes, of course this. Whoa. Oh yes. No, that's I can leave it like this. But what I should do, of course, in this setup, I should also update the data. So here, this is our imperative style. So every time if we change a value or a flag, then we need to explicitly update our data. Okay, how is it handled in reactive programming? First of all, same example here. This time we are, I come to that soon. What is reactive programming? It's just like it's about streams and data propagation. Yeah. So instead of directly representing data, we are using streams. A simple thing is just like I show you that in RxJS we have two kinds of types: observable and subjects. So a subject is a special type of an observable. So you can subscribe to an observable, and you get data all the time when the observable has new data to that one. The difference to the subject is just like you can also pass data to the subject. Yeah. This example, what it does is like all you have to do is just like we define 3 streams. So we have a stream of A for A, another stream for B, and a third stream on the sum of that one. Yeah. And this looks really like that. If you're looking at the code, this all we do is we define 3 streams. So A is in subject of type number and B is in subject of type number. And the sum is something very, really interesting. RxJS has this function, just combines the latest. So what you can do is with this one is like, it takes any numbers of observables and combine them together. And so it concatenates them. So as a result, you get the data from all the streams that you have provided here. So in this case, we get an array of A and B. And this one then, what it does then, it maps it to a different value. So it takes in an array with A and B and calculates them together. That's all you need to do here. So in the HTML, it really looks like that. All we need to do is just like we show those 3 streams, the sum, A and B. That's it. And every time we change A and B with next, so we pass a value A to the stream of A, and we pass that one. Everybody who's subscribed to the stream gets the data. It's some kind of a listener. The important thing is like the combined latest, it takes only into account when all values are passed. Yeah. So passing a value to A doesn't happen anything yet. But once B is passed, this pipe operation, this map operator is triggered. But then immediately, the next thing is to say you can't pass another value to A again. And this gets triggered then. And that is what you see here. Demo. So that was quite fast. Let's slow that down a bit. So first of all, we pass a value 1. Nothing's changed. If we pass value 2, immediately this stream is triggered. And then we pass another value here, and this is updated automatically. And this is what you see. 1, 2, 3, 2, gives 4, and then 5. This is a lot simpler than in imperative programming. Just compare that. So in imperative programming, we really explicitly have to update this value. So either it's in a setter or you use a listener. And this is a very common task that you do all the time. Yes, I think all of you know that. Okay. Let's have a look at this example. Same thing, how do we do that in reactive programming? With the value and the greater than 5. Okay. Let's jump into this one back again. So I've prepared 3 properties, 3 streams. So it must be something like we need a new subject where you can pass the value to this one, to the only even property. And then we can pass to this subject also values. This is some kind of observable that takes into account of, first of all, it creates some data and then it needs to filter based on these 2 properties. And that is, if we look into this, how we did that in imperative style. So we created that one. So we have defined an explicit method that we need to update data, create the data, filter that one. And in both setters, we always call the update data. And then also we might need to initialize that one. In reactive program, so all you need to do is just define the strings. So this is similar to the above example, where you say, okay, let's combine that one. And pass this stream and this greater than even stream. Yeah. And then we do some operation on that one, where we map the value and we are getting away with 2 elements. The first one is the only even flag, and the second one is the greater than flag. And then what we are returning is an array. So exactly the same what we did in the other one. Plus 1. So wait. Here, close this bracket and close this bracket. So, and creating a new array.
You missed some parentheses around the map parameters.
I think so. This one. Okay, let's format that a little bit. Oh yes, I know what you mean. Thank you. Of course, I did that on purpose to test you, test pass. Yeah, you get a beer for me. Yeah.
You just want to prove pair programming works. So.
All right. So I haven't done filter yet, but just to see what happens. So the data is there. And now, just filter. One thing is the same thing. Only even. And filter. I hate that. I don't see this. Okay, wait. Here. So let's see that. Bam. Okay. Again. In reactive programming, just like all you have to do, you can put all the logic into the streams. You create a new observable or a new subject, yeah, and then with the operators that you need. And the code here is exactly the same like for the imperative styles. It's like it shows the value, and if it changes, it just passes the value to the stream. That's all you need to do. All right, that's about. Any questions? Cheers, everybody.
Prost.
Prost, Mahlzeit. It's a German beer. Okay. I send you the link later. So all the examples are here. Or I can say it right away. What is RxJS? Here is, I took that from the website on the ReactiveX side. It's simply said in one sentence, ReactiveX is a combination of the best ideas using the observer pattern, the iterator pattern, and functional programming. These are the three building blocks, the key concepts of reactive extensions. I don't need to tell a lot about observer pattern. You all know that. So for this, for data handling in RxJS, it's basically about sending and receiving. So the observer pattern is used to send data to the observers, and these are the ones that receives it and does something with it. So you know that just like for the listener, it's an implementation using the observer pattern. So every observer can register themselves to the subject, to the observable. The iterator pattern, so it's just like for data handling. So mainly there are three methods in RxJS. So then you can have for handling for the next value. For an error, you can pass an error function. So if an error occurs, and on this sender side, you can also complete all the subscriptions. Functional operators. This is the key block in RxJS, where you just like it uses the main building blocks that you all know, just like in the way, like map, filter, reduce. And the other thing is like you can also combine observables. You can zip them, combine them, many things. Yeah. So where is it used? One example is just like if you want to share data between components. In this example, it's just like I have this view, and all kinds of activities are logged here in this status bar. So if I jump into the other view, it continues logging additional messages. So we have two components, and both of them are sending data to the status bar. Yeah, and this one is showing that these logs. So basically, I have a log service, and that looks quite simple using with observables. Just like I have my observable where I just pass. Here I keep just store all my log messages, and then I have the log. Yeah. So basically, what it does is like it adds all these messages into the log, And what I do is just like I pass that to the observable. That's it. Yeah. So if you look at how they are used, so those two components, it just like initially we have here, it gets the clubs from the backend, yeah, and this is shown in the view, and all it does is like it wants to log that it has received all the clubs, and in case of an error, that it tells, okay, there's something wrong. Also, the other one, there are all kinds of logs where just like, okay, I'm loading some details, the club rules, the members, and in case of a challenge, I'm logging how the challenge progresses. And then the other one, the log is displayed is here, just in the status bar. And all it does is like it gets logs from this log service, yeah. And this is a very interesting operator. It's a tab. It just sneaks into the data and does nothing to that. Just like it does not manipulate it. So what it returns, it does not affect on the result of the observable. Yeah. And all it does is like it makes sure that it always scrolls automatically to the bottom. Yeah. You have seen somewhere else here. I can map the data and convert it into a different type, or just change the data. And then this is shown in the status bar, as you see here in the demo. Yeah. So it gets the data, it gets the response back from the backend, and then on the UI side, it displays them one by one. So, subscribe observables. Observables are descriptive. This means they are not executed immediately. This is unlike promises, for example. If you use a promise, yeah, for HTTP calls, it executes it right away. Here, only when you subscribe to it, then it is executed. So in my status bar component, the logs, this is something interesting. So it's like this, there's a special Angular pipe that displays it, because here, just looking at this component, you see we only have the observable. It's not subscribed. So why is it showing anyway? The reason is just like there's a pipe operator in Angular. It's called async. So it's really this async. It takes in an observable and subscribes it. If I would not do that, it will not show. So it really show the observable itself, the object, but not the data inside it. You can, of course, explicitly subscribe that, just like, yeah, like this. And you say subscribe. change that, of course. And it's working as well. Yeah. Another example of subscribing is like mouse events, any kinds of events. For example, there's also an event. This comes from RxJS, where you can say, okay, let's listen to mouse down events. Subscribe. So you see here my message. Every time I click the left mouse button, you get the mouse down. Let me pass an ID to that one. This is the ID from our component. Mouse down. This is my ID. I click 3 times. I can jump into the next view, and still it's subscribing to this mouse down event. Okay, let me jump back. And now click again. Oh, what happened? Now it's locked 2 times. The reason is just like we have a mouse down observable, and it got subscribed to one subscription. We left the view and came back to that one, and it created another subscription. So that is why it's so important to unsubscribe to that one. This is what we can do here. And when the view is destroyed, what we can do, we can unsubscribe it. So here, see all the mouse events. Jumping to the other one, I click on the left mouse button, and it's still not updating. It got unsubscribed. I go back, and it creates a new subscription, and you can see because of the ID, it is a new one, but the other one has been unsubscribed. This is one important thing that you should know of when using observables in RxJS, especially when it comes to backend calls. Just so if you do backend calls, just like with HTTP. So as you see, let me refresh that view. I jump. So here it gets all the data. HTTP call response shows them. I jump to that one, and for that one, there's 3 HTTP calls. Get the club details, get the rules, get the members. Yeah, it gets the response, processes it, shows the details, the response for the rules, showing it, response for the members, showing that one. Yeah. So let's go back to the main view. It's not obvious, but for the user, it happens quite often that he stops his workflow. Just like he accidentally jumped into one view. Oops, I go back and go to this one. So he accidentally jumped into club 3, but he wants to go to club 1. So what happened now? So that was the main view. We entered the club 3 with ID 2. Realize that the user goes back to the main view. This gets the data. And still, even though he goes back to the main view, it keeps on processing the previous view where he entered club 3, this club. So it gets the response, shows it, gets the other response, and shows that one. Yeah. And then at some time here, he entered the other view. So what happened? Yeah, basically, yeah, it's simple. Yeah, we in our club view, we did 3 HTTP calls, yeah, and then we are trying to show them in our view, yeah, and this subscription is still going on, this observable. We did not unsubscribe to that one. So this is a side effect that we have, and this is something what we don't want. So especially if you have a data intensive view for some kind of reports or report builder, you're getting thousands of data, and he enters some values and then triggers to get the data, and then you realize, oh, I made a mistake. I want to change that one, and say, please, I changed this filter, and load me, and now load me the data. And then it happens that the other one is still progressing. You have the side effect, it updates the view, yeah, and in addition to that one, the second view is triggered. This is really important to understand. Yeah. Questions? All right. The other thing is what you should also be aware of, also the lessons learned is just like, okay, unsubscribing is very, very important, yeah, to avoid side effects. Yeah. You see using RxJS in how the data handling is a lot easier and simpler compared to imperative style. Yeah. And really, I have another example of a side effect. It's just like if I enter this view and then I add a new CodeMonkey club. Here you can also see that what it happens is like, okay, let me refresh that one. It triggers it twice. There's one is showed as you see here because of the first one, and then the second one is coming in, and then you have this really side behavior, this side effect. Okay. This is the last thing. So there are possibilities that you can solve that with just to unsubscribe that one. Yeah, but there are other ways how to solve that. This is not the using RxJS is not the solution for everything. Of course not. Yeah. one possibility is just like you can use the state machine. So before I hand it over to Marcus, I can show you this in this example. So what I have here is just like this is my network exactly. I close that one, and I've a state machine. So Marcus gets more into that one, but I just want to briefly tell states. Basically, the idea is like you have different kinds of states. In this case, I have two states. This is either it's idle or it's processing. And for now, the idea is just like at this time it can be only in this state. Yeah. So what I want to achieve is like, okay, I start something. So first my state is idle, and I start something. It's processing, and while it's processing, nothing else should be done. Yeah. So only if you are in state idle, you can do something, and if you are in state processing, until it's finished, you can't do anything, and it goes back from processing back to idle. Yeah. And that's it. That's all what it does is like, okay, it listens to events. So in the state idle, it accepts only one event, load, nothing else. And when it gets the event, it immediately switches to the state processing. And in the processing, there's some kind of logic where I can pass an observable. What I did here is I was like, okay, I pass an observable. In the case of a success or an error, I return another event, loaded or error. That's it. And in this state accepts exactly those two events, loaded or error. And then it turns back to idle. That's it. Yeah. So when it comes into this processing state, it triggers the observable, and only then when it's successful or it has an error, so it needs to finish, complete in any way, it triggers another event. And with this simple utility class of setting up a state machine, create this one. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. No arguments at all. And then when I load the data, all I need to do is let me look at this. How is it displayed? The clubs here. Here. Here we go. Subscribes to that one. We don't need to subscribe that anymore. This. Yeah. Okay. The clubs load data here. Okay. So all we need to do is this state machine. Send. The type of load and pass the payload which is the observable itself. And okay, so it's still loading the data. And if I click to that one, oh wait, that was too bad. I did something wrong. Okay, it was only 1 second within this first. Let me see. The backend. This is of course only possible. It's 1 second. Change it to 3 seconds. So within those 3 seconds, then yeah, okay, it behaves it correctly, that it does not trigger that one, but yeah, I was expecting. Yeah, this did that on purpose, so just to show that an error happens. Okay, I need to figure that out, but maybe I pass that to Marcus. I think you can explain it much better.
I think you put the arrow there to let me shine and let me show how things can work also in React and XState. And yeah, I'm super excited to start now. And
okay, make you as a host. Here we go.
Perfect. So hopefully I take the correct screen here. So you should see my screen now, I guess. Ty, can you
Yes.
shortly confirm?
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, I prepared like 5 slides and a lot of code. And hopefully, so I'm more the pragmatic guy who likes to put his hand on and see some visual things. And yeah, that's what this talk is about, how we can achieve such visual and hands-on work with state machines, which is very important for the whole workflow. So first of all, very quick about me. Yeah, I'm a professional software developer for around 10 years. I tried to avoid the full stack, the full stack verb here, but yeah, I'm working on front-end projects, but I also love back-end technologies and especially Elixir, like functional programming. Really enjoy it. So if you never had a look on it, just give it a try. We'll have a lot of fun. Yeah, and some contact data for later, maybe, if you're interested in what I'm presenting here. So real quick, XState. XState is a state management library which was originally developed by David. I can't spell the last name, and I think that's why his Twitter handle is David K. Piano, because he can't spell it as well. The whole project started around 2016, and there are a lot of people working on it. And the author himself actually works for Microsoft, which in these days, you can be somehow proud again to work for Microsoft, in my opinion. So, so we have TypeScript because of them, or at least they are involved in stuff like this. So yeah, my personal reason for using state machines in the front end. So what I like the most is that you try to, or all the work is done around the state itself, and it's not creating state based on code changes we made or UX UI changes which come in. But it's all like is based on a process we need to implement in our workflow. And this is what this talk is somehow about. And also, which we see in some minutes, is isolating the state to a maximum. Like you can build a full state or application state or like component state, and just take it out and drop some other drop it into some other presentational components, and it will work. And this is what I'm going to show. So my example is about, I tried to kind of create a real world scenario. So we have our product owner and we have our team meeting, and the product owner says, okay, we need a super awesome file upload. So stakeholder wants it and we need the file upload. And most of the time, at least in the projects I work in, or we're working in, it's like the UX UI guys saying, yeah, of course we can do something. I know how this works, and I will create a super fancy layout, and this will be super cool. So, okay, obviously I didn't have a super awesome designer, so I did it on my own, and this is what I came up with. So we have some drag and drop field, submit button, and yeah, some text info stuff. And okay, then UX guy now comes back into whatever planning or what your working style is. Okay, layouts are done. So developers can start implementing. So go for it. And product owner said, nice, perfect. So we are in Scrum. We have already 3 from 5 story points done. And there's only the implementation left, super easy. So because layout looks nice. And yeah, then dev shows up and says, okay, what happens when I click there? And this is when it gets interesting. So I think one of my colleagues is also in the call here or in the talk, and we exactly had this issue in our today's planning. So we had a component and like a drop-down component with some fancy click stuff and search as you type things. And yeah, this is the layout and go for it. Just tell us how many story points you will need. Yeah, and most of the time it's not that easy. And this is the point where also the author of XState saw an opportunity and also created all the tools and all the stuff to kind of try a new workflow. And one thing to mention, I already used XState in production. So it was like 2018. I worked for a company, create live chat software, and there was already a state machine into the chat widget, and we refactored it. And then we used XState. I don't know if they're still working with it, but yeah, implementation wise, it worked, but at all, it felt like not ready. And I think the last years, and that's why the title of this talk is Hello XState again, they improved a lot. So you even see it in the commit history that the past 2 years, they did a lot on improving this in the direction of developer experience and work better. So far so good. Design state with designers. So in this scenario, we don't start to design upfront. We first talk with the developer and with the UX, UI guys, and the developer sits together and they will design together. And this is what this example walkthrough is about. And I will share the code later, so you can see it here, but it's not public yet because I tried to make it as production as possible. So it's a Next.js application. I don't know who works with React, but maybe it's also interesting for a kind of starting point to work with Next and Tailwind. And I even wrote tests. I'm super proud of myself, but I want to improve tests a little bit, and then hopefully tomorrow it will be public then. So that's it for super presentation slides. I'm going to close this, and you already see my prepared desktop for working together with the UX UI guy. And UX UI guys, they don't like code. So the left side of the screen is for us. I don't know if we have UX UI people here. And the right side is for the UX UI guys. And so the thing is with our upload form, we definitely know about some states we need to handle. And why not write them in here? So we have an idle state, sure. There is nothing, we are idling, super cool. And there will be some event, or yeah, we definitely need the event to trigger a transition to the next state. The next state maybe should be or can be ready for upload. Of course, I prepared all of the states and I'm looking on my second screen, and but I try to make it a little bit more like a story. So we have this ready state here. Okay, I put it in, and now designer says, okay, yeah, but how can I remember this later? And if I save this one, and if this stupid thing is not in my way here from Zoom, how can I don't know. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna refresh with F5 or whatever. Oh, I need to put this away. Damn. Sorry, but I can't refresh my screen actually. So I'm putting it here. So I'm going to refresh the page, and okay, now I have my second state in here. So this whole thing is written in TypeScript. And what's nice about this tool, I think you can also, because actually it's public hosted on statecharts.io. It's also from the XState creator, but you can also do it locally. But for demo, I just do it like this. So we have our ready state, and I will quickly drop in some additional states, because we will have something like, definitely we will have a success state. We don't have to have one, but I want to have a success state actually. So dropping this in here as well. Sadly, we don't have hot reloading, but I think if you do it locally, you can have it. Having our success state, super cool. And I don't want to, because this will be a lot of code, run through all of this now and create it, because you see there are additional things here already. So I will just revert this thing now, and we can go step by step to the whole chart, and we see how this will look like and how it can help us at all. So refreshing it again, and as you saw, so I had the state machine away. I will demo this. So the form was there, the presentation component was there, nothing was broken, and now I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. You can see all of the different states here. And the cool thing about this tool, so you set together now, you are already in super awesome XState developers, so you know how to code all of these things here together with your UX designer. So he will tell you, oh, okay, we have a file drop, we want to drop in files, we have a ready state, then yeah, we will upload. Then this is kind of the developer part who says, yeah, but uploads can fail. Okay, then we need to go back to idle state and maybe show an error message, something like this. So, and an additional thing, which is super useful, I'm gonna kind of split my screen now here. So drag and drop should work now, hopefully. But yeah, for now, I'm just gonna take a file like this. So taking this CMC head, and as you can see on the right side, this thing updates, because if you have this dev tool thing enabled, it sends some events to this chart, and you can see live how things are updating and if they are working and if the state flow is correctly. So you can even get some other people around and say, okay, can look at this, is it meaningful or not, whatever. So I'm going to upload this now. Okay, it works. And you can also do it vice versa, and this is useful during development. You can click on these things and just reset the form, for example, and do a file drop. If if you put something. So you have this event tab here, and you can take a file drop and put some file data in here, whatever. I don't want to demo this because so you have the ability to do something like this. So super cool, but what about the code? So this will be a little bit more now to have a quick look on the code. So we already heard from Tai something about state machines, and state machines, I don't want to explain state machines because there are definitely people who can do it better, and even then I won't understand them. So but at all, it's just about states. So we already saw the states, for example, this idle here. Then we have some events. Events are defined with on. There are some conventions like that. Your event is always capitalized and stuff like this, or uppercase, sorry, not capitalized. So uppercase, and you can have multiple of them on one state if you want. The important thing, what Tai also explained, is that these states are not reachable, for example, or these events are not reachable from the upload. So if you're in the state ready, not from the upload, if you're in the state ready, you can trigger one of these. You can send them if you want, so the front end can send them, but it won't have any impact on the state. The second thing, which is important, is type. It's like guarding transitions. So sometimes you have a certain state. So I'm using actually the local context state here from XState. You can do it with external state. So the chat application we did was with Redux and Redux Saga. So also possible, but for convenience and also because I want to try it out, I used the internal state, and it was really cool. So it took me like 2 days for this whole thing to code, which speaks for the documentation of XState. Just have a look at it. I will post some links also, and it's also documented on the README here. So type guards, not type guards, transition guards. For example, we have this has drop zone error. I'm using a library called React drop zone. We see later. Has file data, validate max size. We want to upload just some things we need to have in mind. And we could easily drop another type guard here with another validation or whatever we want to have. And we are also dispatching the action, what should happen next. Yeah, so far so good. Any questions until here? Like, also, is everything readable? Should I enlarge the font size or whatever?
Yes, can you make
it's good so far.
bigger?
Okay, so then I will continue. So we have, let's go through it.
Marcos?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Can you font make a bit bigger for code?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So like one step maybe work.
That's perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. So let's quickly go through it. On the right side, we can see this idle state. When we have the file drop, which is guarded by has drop zone error, for example. If this one fails, it goes back to idle and assigns. So this action is a state assignment, assigns something to the state. In this case, the error, and we want to null out the file data just to be sure that there is no file data anymore. Then we have this has file data, which just checks if there is file data. Validate max size or whatever, file drop. They all go back to IO if they fail. There's only one case, which when it goes to the ready state, this is the one down here, where we definitely have data and it's all valid. And yeah, so it's so all that matters here, like you maybe already guessed, So if I put this one on top, and the guards won't trigger. Yeah. So next one is our ready state. Uploading. It's called, it's called uploading. So if I trigger the event upload, it will go to state uploading. Can I show it on the right side here? Same time, yeah. This is the uploading. So reset is kind of what we already saw. And uploading a special case, there we're going to invoke a service. And this is also the point where you can, map in or put in external services, libraries, or whatever. It just has to be asynchronous function in the end. So this source upload thing is defined here on the bottom, which is just a file upload service, which then is just a simple Axios call. So just it returns a promise and will get resolved. Of course, here we can also have an error. So when we have a failed promise, it will go through through this action here, and then it does the same as above, like assigning an error, status message, and something like this. Or we are done and have some upload context. Yeah, so far so good. Now I really tried to, and I achieved it, to develop the whole application in these steps. Like I wrote the whole state machine without even writing one line of front-end code. And I also tested it and also used like the visualization. So the idea here is, of course, you can later change these things, but you can try to put as much logic as possible into the state chart thing, or the state visualization, to first give the designer the possibility or the ability to design all these states, because each state here, we definitely have a visual representation for each state. So we want to do something visually for the user when we want to show him that we are ready. We want to show him that we are actually uploading, and we will also want to show a success. So the designer should at least design 4 states of the application or the component. And there are also some more information in here for a designer. For example, we have transitions like upload, reset. Maybe we want to visualize something like this. And also we need to make sure that we show errors to the user. So there are errors assigned to the state, we want to show them. So a lot of information for the designer. So let's jump back to the actual application thing quickly to run it through in live. So drag a file. So the thing is, by our convention or product owners said us that we only want to allow PNGs. So upload a PNG, yeah, nice. We are ready. So we see it on the right side, ready, cool. Upload it, okay, we are done. So yeah, maybe we want to upload another file or not. Yeah, click another file, cool. Upload the JPEG thing. Oh no, it's not working, sad. Okay, now I'm gonna upload a state graphic JPEG, which won't work either. So just remember that I'm only allowed to upload PNGs. So now I don't have a PNG here actually. Ah, nice. So I need a huge PNG. I think I know where I have one. Oh, I'm sorry for this. I just deleted it, so it's super sad. Oh, there. These must be huge. I'm pretty sure, but maybe they're not PNGs. Yeah, they are. And they're huge enough. Okay, let's take this one. So now we had a backend error. This one comes from the backend because we are on the backend side. We're only allowing a specific size. So yeah, to the React implementation. So let's make this one huge. So we have our file upload. And this is the only part where we have some logic. So of course, I'm going to refactor a little bit more, like refactor away some constants here and stuff. But so with React hooks, we could just go and we can. On line 58, we have this use machine. Then we have the upload machine. This is the machine definition with the state chart we just created. And we get back a tuple with the current state of the machine and yeah, a send dispatch action where we can dispatch our actions. So I'm gonna hide these classes here because they don't matter. These matter because we can just match on the state. So and just assign some classes for colors and stuff like this. So this is definitely application or component logic and not state logic. We don't want to do this in state or like close to the state, which we normally do, or what we normally do. And what also would be possible that we are kind of, we say, okay, XState, yeah, we don't like it. We could still throw this away and implement another state logic. It won't change that much. Yep, so the next thing we have here, so it's all about matching states and sending actions. So it's completely decoupled. So you could go and take this this line here, create a totally different file upload just from the presentational components, and drop this logic in, and it will work. Also the fetch part, because it's part of the upload machine. So if you create one really cool upload machine or whatever machine, you can definitely reuse it on another project, which is kind of cool for me. Yeah, so far there is nothing more to say on the React implementation. It's just look at the state and send some events if they are possible. You can, for example, but it's not part of this this presentation or this talk, because it's heavily typed, which is also good. You can also check for possible events on a current state, which then kind of leads to, for example, you want to generate dynamic buttons based on the options the user has. So super easy. You can just go for events, take all the events out there, map them on buttons, and you're good to go. There is a lot of useful additional things you can do. You can jump back in history. Another, when we are at this point, another useful feature that you can always see the state here on the right side. So you know what's going on, and you also see like history things. So now I need a picture which fits, maybe this, yeah, okay. So we see on the right side here in the State Explorer that we have some file data which is dropped in the context. We don't have any arrows. We don't have any additional actions which were triggered before. And yeah, these are some internals. And you can also generate or you can see the sequences of the user journey. So if you give this one to the product owner, he or her, they will click through it, and then you can see the sequence. Okay, what was going on here, and improve on the sequence. And you can also use it for documentation. So far so good on XState. Like I don't know how long it was planned, on the whole talk was planned, so I'm not sure if I'm already over time.
No, yeah.
Oh, please.
No, you are not. 5 more minutes if you want to.
Okay, yeah, maybe I would like to open up for some questions, because it doesn't make it won't make sense to go through the code more here. If you are interested in the whole implementation, like I said, I will provide the link, and feel free to send me messages. Maybe there's things I can improve, but also if you have questions about stuff, what's going on here. For example, how to test this machine. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So, do we have any questions? Hopefully, we have some.
I have one.
Yeah.
Small one. So is it possible to test it without any libraries?
Yeah. With at least you need something to run your test, and some assertion libraries. But in this case, I didn't even use the. I was about to mock access away, but there was a better way to do it. No, I'm not using anything else. I'm only using Jest actually for test running.
I think one of the important things is like the main logic is in the state machine. So all the tests are around the state machine that you say, okay, I want to do this action. So I am setting an event. I want to upload that one. Is it still, so am I allowed to upload it? Doesn't error occur? And if I send an upload again, or if with a different file size. So this is, it also decouples the testing. So really, and focuses on the logic, which is now in the state machine.
Yeah, definitely. So, but the main concern I have about all of this, so maybe you don't want to create a state machine for a simple upload form, but I just learned it can make sense. The important thing is that your team wants to work like this. So because you can't. So if you don't know every feature requirement upfront, it will be hard to design the state machine, and it's also hard when the UX UI designer starts work in parallel without knowing what you're doing. And so I would really encourage all teams to work like this, like get together, sit together. And it sounds so easy, but often it's not. And the most of the UI UX people I know, if there is no visualization of code, they are out. So like immediately out. Yeah, and this was my main point. I tried to show. I wanted to show that there is the possibility to try out such a workflow.
I think what's also interesting is like maybe state machines or state charts sounds very technical, but if you start, it's a different way of looking how the workflow goes. Yeah. And before I've sent in the chat a link. This is a very interesting article that's 2 years old, but still it's valid. It's a similar example about the file upload, and nowadays what we do, if we implement that one, the workflow of an upload, is like we are thinking about in transitions. Yeah. And if you think about in transitions, we think about like, okay, I can press the button, and when it's pressed, then it's either having success, and then I display it, display a message, and if it's an error, then I display the error message. And while it's uploading or fetching the data, I should disable the button. So all these kind of transitions, it makes it a lot more complex. If you, for example, read this article,
Definitely.
yeah,
but you're right on this. The thing is that I wrote a lot of articles like 3 years ago when I worked with XState, and the thing is that not that much companies actually use state machines in the front end, and I was just first of all questioning why, and I intentionally didn't read anything about XState in like the last days when I was working on this, only the documentation, because I just want to get the experience how it works and how it works for a developer. So, and if you start with explaining state machines to your tech lead and you want to implement them in the like really in a production workflow, yeah, they will just laugh at you and say, okay, go home, man. This won't work. So, and this is very important that you just try to use it hands-on, and so you could just go on the XState side and start a visualization. So with the old visualizer tool, you can actually do it online. This one is like an embedded one, but they're working on a like, yeah, I think it will be an Electron application that you can create these charts and then just write your state chart on your local machine and visualize it. And this will get you into state machines like this, because you can just go hands-on, define some states, try out some transitions, just play around with this. You can also do like parallel machines or drop in a state machine into a state machine, which in some cases definitely makes sense. And it's not that abstract and theory, so you can just try it out. And if you then have a working state machine for yourself, and this is a thing they really improved on, you can just use use a React hook for it. Drop your definition in there, and you're good to go. You can just use the state machine you designed somewhere else, or somebody else designed it. You can take it and be sure that it will work if it's tested, and then you can drop your presentation or components around it. And this is a huge benefit in the workflow, but I think it's a long way to go to get this implemented. So yeah, we will see where this goes.
The French people would say it's like good wine, it takes time. Marcus, can you pass me the screen?
Yeah, maybe if I get how this works.
Yeah.
Again. So as you can imagine, I'm normally not using Zoom. Okay, first of all, I need to stop this.
Okay.
And I will make it. So there you go. So that's it.
Yes, thanks.
I'm done. So since this was my first talk since a long time.
Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, I would appreciate also if there is a way to get some feedback, just send it. Even if you say, okay, it was totally boring, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Just one or two more words about XState. Is like, just as Marcus says, okay, just try to try it out and see how it helps you. And as I sent you the link for this article, and if you start thinking of how to model workflow in this way, you will see that it makes it a lot simpler. Yeah. You don't even need to use a lib like XState. You can really implement, even in their documentation of XState, they say, okay, basically it's really that simple. You can implement these kind of things yourself. Yeah. And
yeah, but I don't want to on the last minute like interrupt you, because this is definitely the point where I'm not in your opinion, because you you see that of course you can implement it on your own. This is not so you can even write your own state machine without using any library, which is not that hard. The thing is that you need to make it accessible for other developers as well, and make it good tested. And as you see, this article is from 2018, and I never been in a project with a state machine in the front end at all since 2018, where I was at this chat application thing. And yeah, this tells there is another problem, because state machines, they are so they are so old. To get it into the front end and really benefit from it, I think we need to tackle some other problems, not state machines at all. So sorry for interrupting you, but this was important.
No, that's okay, Marcus. Yeah. There are many other things that are really that old when it comes to mathematics, and that is old since the 50s. But now they are getting really interesting, so like in machine learning. Just one comment to that one. Just one as well. Just like all I'm saying is just like I've experienced it so many ways. The way how we implement UIs and using these kind of transitions. There's a button. If I click it on that one, if I double click it on that one, do nothing. If in case often request, often error, you have to do this and do this, and then you pass that. Or if the data is corrupted, you show the error. So you see all these kind of possibilities, how complex that can be. Yeah, I see it in every project, and if you model it in this way, you see also the code gets a lot simpler. That is what I'm saying. So try it out yourself and see. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, and this is one of the possibilities where you can take really advantage of. And I can really show other examples where if you model in that way, it makes your life easier and a lot easier to maintain. So that's the end of the presentation. Any other questions?
Yeah, where's my beer?
Yeah. All right. Then have a nice evening, everybody. Bye, Marcus.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
all.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Bye.
for inviting me. It was fun. It was cool to prepare a talk since ages.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.